Namaste. Good morning, and welcome to our continuing series on homeopathy with our beloved Dr. Pachegaonkar. So we have a number of things to cover today. First one, urinary tract infections.
Sure.
Good. Very important subject.
See, these urinary tract infections are very common in summer as well as in winter. The main reason being dehydration. And in India, dehydration we get very common in summer, but at the same time, these conditions are very common in winter also. What happens in summer, the dehydration is obvious because of heat. And there has to be a lot of sweating to maintain the body temperature within normal. And in almost 4 to 5 months of summer, our daytime temperature is much above body temperature. And therefore, we need to hydrate ourselves adequately. And if we fail to do that, we get dehydrated and subsequently the concentrated urine giving rise to inflammation in the bladder, and then urinary tract infection follows. Sometimes urinary tract infections occur because of stagnation of urine. If the bladder is not completely emptied every time, what we call residual urine is there, and any stagnation gives rise to infection.
Yes.
And in urinary tract infections, especially the bladder mucosa, it gets inflamed again and again, and chronically, if it is going on occurring, the bladder mucosa gets thickened, and then thickened mucosa again makes the bladder susceptible for easy infections. So it's a vicious, and many times it goes very difficult to tide over these urinary tract infections once they are chronic. And what happens, for practical purpose, the cavity in the bladder is an exterior cavity almost. So any infection there, the antibiotics, they can't reach there. The antibiotics will be circulated in the body. But what about the mucosa, which is inflamed and thriving bacterial infection? So prolonged period of intake of antibiotics also weakens the body. So it really is agonizing to have these urinary tract infections. And once the person becomes prone for it, it goes on recurring again and again. The best remedy for prevention is go on drinking ample of water so that you flush your renal system properly and timely, so that your bladder doesn't get concentrated and irritating urine, as well as there should be complete evacuation of bladder. These two things, if we ensure, then there is no chance of urinary tract infections. Second thing is, there should be a proper pattern of drinking water. Suppose I am thirsty and I eat my meal and then drink water, so body will not get fluid for 2 hours because the food has to churn in stomach for a few hours. So it is always better to drink ample of water on empty stomach. So each time whenever you are eating, at least few minutes earlier, you drink body temperature water on empty stomach, so that proper hydration is maintained, and once you eat for 2 hours, body doesn't need further supply. Another main reason for urinary tract infection in summer is people tend to drink cold water, chilled water in summer, because it satiates their thirst instantly. But because of drinking chilled water, your thirst is satiated early, but adequate supply of fluid is not there. So people who drink chilled water or fond of drinking chilled water, they are more prone for these urinary tract infections because they quench their thirst, but they don't take adequate quantity of fluid. So what we advise is drink plain water. If you are fond of chilled water, drink ample of plain water, and then as a terminal part you can take chilled water. There should be no harm. But see that you hydrate yourself adequately, give enough scope for sweating so that your cooling also takes place in summer. At the same time, in winter, though the temperature outside is lower than your body temperature, and the water which you drink, if it is a plain water, it is definitely a cold water for you. And that also is not easy to drink cold water in winter. Therefore, we advise people that doesn't matter, you can warm it and drink, or drink slowly so that by the time it reaches stomach, it is warm enough at par with the body temperature. And that way, if you hydrate yourself well in winter, then also you don't get cases of cystitis. Otherwise, cystitis is very common complaint in males, females, children in India.
Wonderful.